First, I want to thank everyone for the support and kind messages on my last video. I didn't expect that kind of feedback, so thank you so much. Since many of you asked for more videos like that, here is another one. This time we are turning a regular fan into a smart one using an ESP32C3, a few relays and home assistant. This fan only has one switch. On the right there are 3 speeds, with one off position on the top and one off position on the bottom. And on the left the same 3 speeds but with rotation. Okay, let's open up the fan and take a look inside. On the left is the switch, in the middle are the fan blades, the main motor that spins them, and on the right side is the small motor that makes the fan rotate from side to side. On the back of the switch we have 3 wires, one for each speed. The brown one is the live wire, and the black wire you'll see in a second. Now let's see how these wires are connected. Because it's hard to follow these wires, I drew a wiring diagram of the fan to make it easier to understand. Let's start from the right. We have the power cable, with the neutral wire split in 2, one for each motor. For these motors to work, they also need a live connection. We can see that the live wire goes directly to the switch, and the switch sends power to the motors through these wires, depending on its position. The ESP I ordered came with a Wi-Fi antenna and 2 headers. It's called ESP32C3 Super Mini, and it has 18 pins in total, 15 of which are GPIO, and it has a USB-C port. Let's continue by soldering the headers. In case you are wondering why I'm soldering the headers with the long pins on the front, it's because I had in plan to secure the board with hot glue, and I didn't want to put glue straight on the components, because it will be risky if I ever needed to take it off. And here is the result. Connect the ESP to the computer and let's switch to Home Assistant. We go to ESP Home Builder. If you don't have it yet, you can install it from the add-on store. For a full step-by-step guide, check out my previous video. Let's add a new device, click Continue, then New Device Setup. Give it a name, select the board, press Install, and choose Plug into this computer. This will take a little while. Once it finishes, download the project and open ESP Home Web. Click Connect, select your device from the list, and install the project we just downloaded. When it's done, you should see your device online in ESP Home Builder. Because this time we are working with high voltages, we'll use this 4 relay module. It's rated for 10 amps at 250 volts and it can be powered with a 3.3 volt connection. I know it's 3.3 volts because of the 03 VDC in the relay model. The module has one green LED, which turns on when the module is powered, so when it's connected to the ESP board, and another 4, one for each relay. First, let's disconnect the ESP from the computer. To power the relay module, we need a 3.3 volt and a ground connection. On the ESP board, we have a 3.3 volt and a ground connection here, and to control the relay, we'll use pin number 1. 3.3 volts goes to VCC, ground to ground, and pin 1 to relay number 1. Red wire goes to 3.3 volt, black wire to ground, and orange wire to pin 1. Power the ESP board and let's go back to Home Assistant to modify the code. This code creates a switch to control the relay. It uses pin GPIO1 where we connected the orange wire, and because the relay is active low, like most of the relays, we set inverted true. We save and install the new code, then go to Devices and Services. ESP Home has discovered the fan, and we add it by pressing Add. Now it's time to test the code. Back to the fan, we cut the main power cable in 2, remove the outer coating, strip the wires, and connect them back together, brown to brown and blue to blue. To power the ESP, we'll use this old iPhone charger. It's rated 5 volts 1 amp, more than enough for our needs. I'm curious what you think about this and what you will choose instead. To connect the charger pins to the cables, we are using 2 solder sleeves. Make sure to place them right in the middle, where the solder ring is. Then grab a heat gun, start heating the sides first so they shrink and seal everything, and after that heat the middle until you see the solder melts. We do the same thing on the other side, and this is how it looks in the end. Now we cut the live wire that goes to the switch and strip it. Next we cut the white wire, which we know is for speed 1, and strip the side that goes to the motor. We place the brown wire in the COM port of relay 1, which stands for common. That's the middle one, and tighten the screw to secure it. The white wire goes to the NO port, which stands for normally open, but I actually place it wrong here because my relay doesn't have any labels. But we'll fix that later. We put some isolation tape on the cut wires, plug the USB-C cable into the charger, and then connect it to the ESP. With the multimeter in continuity mode, we place one probe on the COM port and the other on the left one. No beeping. When we check the right side, it beeps. That means I need to move the white wire to the left side, because when the relay is off, the brown and white wire should not be connected. Now we can plug the fan into the power, grab the phone and test it. While testing, don't touch the relay module. 230 volts is passing through. Since all the relays needs a live connection, we can either solder all the COM ports together like this or run a wire through them. It's up to you. Now we have continuity across all the COM ports. Before connecting all the speed wires to the relays, I wanted to be 100% sure how the switch works, so I open it. In the middle there is a metal plate that looks like a clock hand. I will call the top side the short hand and the bottom side the long hand. These hands are always connected to the live wire, so to the brown wire. On the left side there are 3 plates, one for each speed. When we move the switch to speed 1, the long hand touches the plate connected to the white wire, connecting it to live. The same happens for speed 2 and speed 3. When the switch is in the off position, the hands are not touching any plates. When the switch is set to speed 1 with rotation, the long hand touches the black wire plate, which powers the rotation motor, and the short hand touches the plate for speed 1, connecting both the white and black wires to live. Now that we understand how the switch works, let's wire the rest of the speed wires to the relay module. Let's cut the blue wire and strip the end that goes to the motor. For relay number 2, we'll use a green wire, which will connect to pin 2 on the ESP. We connect the blue wire from the speed 2 to relay 2, cut, strip, and connect the red wire for speed 3 to relay 3. For relay 3, we'll use a purple wire, which connects to pin 3 on the ESP. And the grey wire from the pin 4 on the ESP goes to relay 4. Let's cut, strip, and connect the last wire to relay 4. Isolate the rest of the wires with tape and put them aside. Let's switch back to Home Assistant and add the code for the rest of the relays. The code for the other relays works the same as for relay 1. Each just has a different name, GPIO pin and ID. Save and install the new code, and the result looks like this. We managed to simulate the switch using the relay module and the code, but for now the fan can only be controlled from Home Assistant. To add manual control too, we need to connect all the switch wires to the ESP, read the switch state and connect the right relay based on that state. So let's get started. Strip all the switch wires and we'll need 5 jumper wires with the same colors. And connect them to switch wires using the solder sleeves. You already know the process, so I'll speed it up. In the end, they look like this. We connect the brown wire to 3.3 volts and the rest of the wires to pin 5, 6, 7 and 8 like this. White to pin 5, blue to pin 6, red to pin 7, black to pin 8. The brown wire needs to be soldered on the back of the board because 3.3 pin is already used to power the relay module. Secure it with hot glue and let's go back to Home Assistant to add a few sensors to our code. This will create 4 binary sensors, one for each switch speed position and one for the rotation position. Pin 5 reads the white wire from the switch speed 1, pin 6 reads the blue wire from the switch speed 2, pin 7 reads the red wire from the switch speed 3, and pin 8 reads the black wire from the switch rotation. If you are wondering how the ESP knows the switch position, it's actually quite simple. We connected the brown wire to the ESP's 3.3 volts pin, so it now supplies 3.3 volts to the switch. We know that the white wire is for speed 1, blue for speed 2 and red for speed 3. For example, when the switch is in the off position, the blue wire has 0 volts, so the ESP reads it as low. When we move the switch to speed 2, the brown wire connects with the blue wire, supplying it with 3.3 volts, and the ESP reads it as high. In short, the ESP interprets low as off and high as on. Save and install the new code, and when we check the sensors, we see that the switch rotation is on, even though the fan switch is in the off position. To check this, we remove the black wire from the pin 8, and with the multimeter, we place the black probe on the ground and the red probe on the pin 8. We read 2 volts, so that's why our sensor detects it as high. On pin 9 we get 3 volts, same story. On pin 10 we read nothing. And pin 20 and 21 both show 3 volts. So in this case we will use pin 10 for our sensor. We connect the black wire from the switch to pin 10 and update the GPIO pin in our sensor code to 10 instead of 8. After saving and installing, the sensor now shows the correct state. Now let's test all the sensors. Perfect, they are reading the correct states. As you saw, the switch positions don't trigger any actual speed, so we need to change the code a bit. But before that, we need to hide these switches, because triggering 2 speeds at the same time would fry the motor, so it's just too risky. We will leave the rotation switch as it is, but we can change its icon to something a bit more fancy. Then we add a text sensor with the update interval set to never. This code creates a speed control that lets you set the fan speed from 0 to 3. When the value changes, it runs a script that turns off all the speed relays first, waits 200 milliseconds, then turns on the relay that matches the selected speed and updates the fan state accordingly. We change the binary sensor, so now it directly sets the fan speed to 1 when activated and updates the rotation relay based on the switch state, and is marked as internal so it doesn't appear in Home Assistant. We apply the same logic to the other switch speed sensors, with the difference that each one will set its corresponding fan speed, so 2 or 3. We set the rotation sensor to internal because we don't need it visible in Home Assistant. The rotation relay itself already shows its state. Let's save, install and test it. Now the fan speed appears as a slider, which is nice. When we move the switch, the fan speed updates to stay in sync with it, and the fan state also changes to true. But when the switch is moved to the off position, the fan state remains true, and the speed doesn't go back to 0. Moving the switch to the rotation side, trigger the rotation and sync the fan speed with the switch position. Because the ESP doesn't know when the switch changes to the off position, we need to create a sensor that checks when the switch speed and the rotation sensors are off. When it detects this, it sets the speed to 0. Now if we move the switch to speed 1 and then back to off, it correctly updates the speed and the state. To prevent synchronization problems, on boot we can check the state of the switch sensors. If the rotation switch is on, we turn on the rotation relay. Then we check which speed switch is active and set the fan speed accordingly. If no speed switch is active, we set the fan speed to 0. Now, if we move the switch while the ESP is off, on boot it detects the current switch position and synchronizes accordingly. Everything is working perfectly now, so let's add a new feature to the fan. A child lock to disable the manual controls. For this, we need to add a switch to enable or disable the function, and include a condition before any action triggered by the switch positions, both on boot and on any change in switch position. And if you prefer to see on instead of true and off instead of false for the fan state, we can change that from here. Save and install the code, but before we do the last test, let's prepare the fan. At this point, we haven't lost any functionality. the fan can still be controlled offline. And it can be also controlled from Home Assistant even when the switch is in the off position. Controlling it from the switch also overrides any changes made from Home Assistant. On top of that, turning on the child lock completely disables the switch, which can be useful in some situations. And turning it off restores the switch control. Alright, that is for this project. Now we've got a fully smart fan that can be controlled both manually and through Home Assistant. I hope you found this guide helpful. If you did, please give the video a like and consider subscribing if you like to see more projects like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.